Many times while working in AutoCAD, you will have the need to change the angular position of an object. Now, it could be the position of a house on a lot, a chair in a room, or anything. Maybe even a gear needs to be rotated in your drawing, just a certain way. Now, there are many reasons to need to rotate an object, and AutoCAD is very specific on how it rotates objects. So let's open up an example file. Go to Open Files, go to this chapter's project folder, and open up the Rotation Examples drawing file. Here I have drawn in a few lines at specific angles, and some of those angles have been labeled. Now, as you might have expected, you can type in the word rotate to get to the rotate command. You can also type in RO for rotate, not R. R is a redraw. That's kind of like a refreshing of your screen. So RO is the command. Now, if you go to the ribbon, you go to the Home tab, to the Modify panel, and you click on the Rotate command right here. Now remember, when you go to the ribbon, if you're not sure what each command is, just move your mouse cursor right over the top of it, and it will tell you what the command is. And if you hold it there for another second or two, it'll give you a tooltip. It'll sort of give you an explanation of how things work. Okay, so once we start the Rotate command, in any way that you want to, you select your objects that you want to rotate. You can pick one or you can pick multiple. Then you press Enter once your selection is finished. Now you need to select a point of rotation. Now this point will be the pivot point for your objects to be rotated around. So if you're rotating a wheel and you want to rotate it about the center of the wheel, make sure you click on that center of that circle for the wheel. I'm going to pick this endpoint right here, the vertice or vertex of this angle. Now the second point you select determines the angle amount you are rotating. Right now my ortho is turned on, so it's locking me in to a 90-degree rotation. I'm going to turn that off. Now I can freely rotate my objects at any angle I'd like. I can pick a point somewhere, or I can type in the rotation angle that I want to use. Now remember, when you rotate an object, 0 starts off to the right on a horizontal line, or the east direction. Any degree of the angle that I type in comes up from there. So this is 0. This is a 15 degrees, 60 degrees. This would be a 90-degree rotation. So I'm going to type in 45 degrees. And there we go. So I rotated these objects 45 degrees. I didn't rotate them to a 45-degree angle, but I rotated them 45 degrees. The angle of rotation is based off the horizon, or due east, to the right of your screen. Now your angle starts horizontally out from that base point and goes up from there. I'm going to undo this, put them back to where they were. If we look at these lines again here on the right, imagine that I need to rotate the line at 15 degrees, that's this line, but I need it to be at the 90 degrees. Now I could do the math, 90 degrees minus this 15 degrees and get 75. So if I start the rotation command, select my object, press Enter, pick my vertex, make sure ortho is turned off. See, if I type in 90 degrees, it's going to rotate it 90 degrees and it's going to look like this. But if I want that line to be at 90 degrees, then I have to do the math. So I'm going to type in 75, and it puts my line right at 90 degrees. I'm going to undo that again. I'm going to show you a little trick. Start your rotate command, press Enter, select your object, press Enter again, pick your base point. Now, let's say I want my angle of rotation not to reference from the 0, but I want it to actually reference from my line itself. Well, notice here that we have a couple of options, copy and reference. So if I type in R for reference, I have to pick my rotation point again, and then I pick my reference point, which is going to be the end of this line. So now, when I rotate my angle, it starts from this line that I've just created. And now I can bring it all the way up to the top. So that sometimes will make things easier for you to rotate. But if I type in 90 degrees, again, it's going to rotate 90 degrees. But now in this case, if I turn my ortho back on, it's going to pull it all the way up to the top at a 90-degree angle. So that's a couple of little tricks that you can use when rotating. you can use that reference. I use that reference option in the rotate command quite often. Now I want to show you the copy option in the rotate command. So you start the rotate command, select your line, press return, pick your base point. I'm going to turn off my ortho, and I'm going to select the copy option. I'm going to type in the letter C, press return. Now, if you want to use the copy option, you have to do that first, before you use the reference option. Once you start the reference option, the copy option is no longer available to you. So I'm going to do the reference option now. I'm going to pick my base point, my reference point, and I'm going to turn my ortho back on. And now I'm going to make a rotated copy. So you see it left this line here and rotated it. It copied it and kept it in its original space, and then I rotated a new object. So that's something that you may want to use as well. You want to rotate and copy at the same time.